Hi guys, welcome back to Mike's Carping Adventures. If you're new to carp fishing, then today's video is very much for you. I'm going to be giving you my 5 staple tips on how to basically land more carp this coming year. At the end of this video, I will put a link to a different video on the channel, which is going to give you even more in-depth tips as well. So make sure you stick around to the end. These 5 tips will hopefully be allowing you to bring something else into your fishing, or at the very least, help put your mind at rest on a few things that you may already be doing. So thank you as always for watching, everyone. It's much appreciated, and don't forget to like, subscribe, etc. If this is the type of thing you like to see going forward. But first things first, let's get to tip number 1. Okay then, so tip number 1 is quite straightforward. It's pre-tied rigs. Now when you're first starting out, I appreciate that you're probably digesting every single video on YouTube. No doubt you've watched a lot of Korda videos, and Korda, for example, obviously have got a number of different components, a million different rigs, and to be honest with you, it can feel a bit overwhelming, and I do totally get it because I was in your shoes a number of years ago. So what I would definitely say is here, do not be afraid to use pre-tied rigs that are off the shelf from the likes of Korda or Nash or Fox. You know, they're perfectly well tried and tested rigs. You don't have to worry about having to tie your own rigs, which I know at this point may sound a bit again, overwhelming or harrowing. So all I would say is, you know, go for something like a blowback rig. Now a blowback rig is good for bottom baits, it's good for pop-ups as well, so it's a very versatile rig, and it catches me a lot of fish. So start at the blowback rig, and once you've built up your confidence, then go on YouTube and kind of look at videos for tying your own. But don't let anybody tell you that the fact you can't tie your own rig is a detriment to you in terms of your skill. It's absolute nonsense, so ignore them. The only thing I would say on this section is probably don't go to something like Wish or eBay and get really kind of cheap multi-packs. The majority of the time they're just not very good quality. I've seen a number of people contact me on Instagram with examples of these, and they're just not worth the money at all. So go to a reputable brand, as I said, a Korda, a Fox, a Nash. Just do what works for you, do what makes you comfortable, and then that is good enough to start with. Okay, and tip number 2 is blending in. And what I mean by blending in is trying to tie the rig that you're using on the bottom of the lake to the actual lake bed itself. Now, for example, the lake behind me here, Bathing Hall, is a clay bottom, so I wouldn't want to be using, for example, a silt or a gravel kind of leader, which is either a piece of tubing or a piece of material that kind of matches itself to the bottom of the lake. So the first thing that you need to do, you need to either go online to the website of where you're going to be fishing, or even worst case, pick up the phone, get on touch with the actual on-site bailiff, and then he'll tell you exactly what you need. These fish are fish for, they're highly pressured, so it's really, really important that you try and match up your rig as much as you can. Now, if you're obviously unsure or you can't get a hold of anyone, I'll put a link down below to a company called Gemini Tackle. So Gemini have what we call a fluorocarbon leader. They also do fluorocarbon rigs. Now, this is as invisible as you're going to get. I've seen the Korda leaders, I do own some myself, but the fluorocarbon leaders from Gemini are fantastic. You literally cannot see anything in the water, so this is as good as you're going to get. So if you can't find this information out, having some of these leaders will just help you make sure that you're always prepared for any eventuality. Okay, and tip number 3 is baiting strategies. Now, this comes in many different forms. You've got something called a spom or a spod, which is a capsule of bait that effectively you can just cast straight out onto your particular spot, and then it will open up on impact and release food into your area. You've got PVA mesh bags and also PVA kind of mesh sticks, if you like, and also then you've got catapults, which, as it sounds, catapults boilies or pellets or whatever it may be onto a particular kind of spot or area. The latter is probably less accurate, but you know, for me, I quite like the fact that it's not as accurate as that, because it means it's a nice little spreader bait and the fish can't get scared of one particular spot. Now, as you can tell, there's 3 or 4 different options there, and already you're probably thinking, well, which one is the best option? And the honest truth to that, in my opinion, is that one is not better than the other. So now, if you're just starting out, I would advise you to go down this route, which is the PVA mesh sticks. Really quite straightforward. You can learn to tie your own quite straightforward. They do kits in Angling Direct, which are very, very simple, and I will show you on screen. But if you don't want to do that, then effectively you can use a company called PVA Plug, who do offer pre-filled kind of PVA mesh sticks. Now, if you go to the link in the description and use the code Mike10, then you'll get 10% off any future order. I don't benefit in any way from that. I just wanted to try and give you an option should you wish to use pre-filled bags. The only thing I would say, just in principle, for a lot of fishing, it's very, very rare that you want to turn up to a lake and just hammer out a couple of kilos worth of boilies. On certain lakes that will work well, but what I would definitely advise you to do is basically fish for a bite. So put a couple of boilies over the top, maybe one of these mesh bags, and build up a hit of bait. So once you've caught a fish, add a bit more in, catch another fish, add a bit more in again. Don't just turn up to a lake and put in 4 or 5 kilos worth of boilies, because you'll probably kill your session before it's even done. You don't want to basically put too much in, because again, you can never ever take it out. So that's the baiting strategies, and let's go to tip number 4, which is spicing up your baits. Okay, and tip number 4 is spicing or glugging your boilies. Now, I'm sure you've already seen when you've been shopping online, there's a million different brands, from Sticky to DNA to CC Moore, Mainline, the list kind of goes on. There's always a boilie out there for you to buy. So again, the list can feel a bit endless, but what I would say is, trial and error is the only way that you're going to find boilies that work for you. Just stick to one of the well-known brands and you can't go too far wrong. Now, the thing with this though is there's a lot of people who are obviously fishing, there's a lot of boilies going in, and the majority of people do not spice or glug their boilies in any way. It's straight out of the bag, straight into the lake. Now, obviously these are really good boilies, so it probably isn't necessarily a bad thing, but in my opinion, when there's so much generic bait going into the water, spicing up your boilies is going to give you a bit of an edge. So the ways that you can do this, and I will put a link up above for you here that you can check out, but within a couple of minutes you can turn your boilies basically from this on the left hand side to these on the right, and you'll be able to see exactly the difference between the two. Now, in my opinion, I know which I think is a bit more of an attractive looking boilie. A lot of flavour and a lot of attraction in the water, in my opinion. Now, is this going to guarantee you fish every time? No, of course it's not. Nothing ever will. But in my opinion, this will give you a little bit of an edge over somebody else on a lake who's just chucking out a generic boilie with no extra attraction. So definitely consider spicing up the boilies. Check out the video as I said above, and I'm sure you'll be able to get something that works for you. Okay, and tip number 5 is don't be fooled. So this falls into kind of 2 subsections, if you like. The first one is the very popular word carp tax. Now, if you haven't come across this, carp tax effectively is where a relatively generic product all of a sudden is worth £10–15 more because they put a carp brand next to it. Now, there's sometimes when it's very much value, and there's a reason why it's actually got a little bit more expensive. But to give you an idea, I was looking for a pair of waterproof fishing trousers a few weeks ago. I was very close to buying them with a particular brand on for 25 quid. Went into Aldi and found almost an identical pair. The only difference I could see was one missing pocket off the side for £8.99. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not into wasting my money. So personally, I went and got the waterproof ones from Aldi and was very impressed with them. And the second part of this, what I wanted to cover, and it's something that's really starting to bug me. I've seen it a lot on Twitter and once or twice on Instagram, is some people shaming new anglers to the sport for not having particular types of brands, or having cheaper, say, NGT bits and stuff like that, or TF gear. It's really starting to bug me because I don't know what some people think. I don't think they're going to spend 2 or 3 grand on a setup that is going to help them catch more fish. The majority of the time, it won't make a blind bit of difference. So you watching this now, I don't want you to be put off or feel pressured by anybody to go out and buy a really expensive kit. I've got Fox Warrior S rods, which are £3 test curve. They will do any fish that I need to cope with here in the UK. My bite alarms are for NGT. I am going to be getting some Prologic ones soon, but that's only because I've had these ones for years and they do need upgrading. But other than that, don't go out and spend hundreds of pounds because some person wants to tell you that you're less of a carp angler because you're not spending 300 quid on a set of Delkims. Fish to your budget, find something that works for you, and slowly upgrade as you go along. So yeah, don't be fooled. Don't be pressured into getting something because somebody else tells you you need to. Be comfortable, enjoy your fishing, and I'm sure you're going to catch more fish this year and have more fun at an affordable budget for you. So thank you everybody for watching today's video. I really appreciate it. As I say, I'll put some links down below and also a link above to a couple of new videos, and also the old video which has even more in-depth tips for you to check out. So thank you everybody, and I'll see you on the bank very soon.